ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, what we're gonna have here is the complete and downfall of racist baiter Joy Reid. She has finally collapsed. She has finally been canceled by her favorite and new favorite network, MSNBC, or I like to call it MSNDNC, because they are a network that is mostly for the Democrats. Well, what we have here is that Joy Reid is no longer here. She's gone, and we can all celebrate for it. And here's a few clips here of Joy Reid actively race baiting and using racist stuff on MSNBC, and nobody really wanted to acknowledge it. Well, we do here on this channel, and then that's what we're going to do. Take a look.
They can drive out the brown people and the black and Asian people, or just sink them into the same apartheid they've created in Texas. And they will control enough electoral votes if they can.
They want white supremacy by ventriloquist effect. There is a black mouth moving, but a white idea through the running on the runway of the tongue of a figure who justifies and legitimates the white supremacist practices.
Your thoughts, Byron Donalds, who walked out after Dixie was played in New York and has no shame there. Mm-hmm. They say he's going to be the governor of Florida now.
Yeah, every community has what I call their chickens for Colonel Sanders. Muslims had their halal chickens. The black community has their chickens. Byron Donalds is a grown-ass black man who referred to Donald Trump as his daddy. And what I want to tell the Byron Donalds, and every community's got a Donald. I got a Kash Patel. We got a Nimrata, we got a Haley. We all got them, all right? What I want to say is this. They'll never love you. They'll never love you. No matter what you do, they'll never love you. You can never wipe out that brown or black skin.
But, I feel like the important sort of data point, and Steve talks about it a lot, he's going to probably talk about it a little more tonight, is that these are white Christians. That this is a state that is overrepresented by white Christians that are going to participate in these caucuses, especially tonight. Earlier today, reached out to Robbie Jones from the Public Religion Research Institute, knowing that we were going to talk about Iowa. And this is a hyper-evangelical white state. And he said the following to me. Iowa is about 61% white Christian. The country as a whole is approximately 41% white Christian. And in Iowa, we're talking about evangelical white Christians. And he said the following. Because I asked him, what do they get out of supporting Donald Trump? Because he keeps losing, he keeps delivering losses and losses and losses. And he said the following. They see themselves as the rightful inheritors of this country, and Trump has promised to give it back to them. All the things that we think about electability, about, what are people gaming out, or none of that matters when you believe that God has given you this country, that it is yours, and that everyone who is not a white conservative Christian is a fraudulent American, is a less real American. Then you don't care about electability. You care about what God has given. But Republican voters don't vote that way. They don't vote based on economics or based on the benefits they're getting economically from the president. They're increasingly, from the Tea Party on, they're voting on race. They're voting on this idea of an invasion of brown people over the border. The idea that they can't get whatever job they want. A black person got it, therefore drive all the blacks out of the colleges, get rid of DEI. That is what they're voting on. They're just voting specifically on racial animus. At this stage, it isn't about economics.
No.
Returning white Christian men, but also white men and white adjacent men, black men, brown men who are like white adjacent in terms of trying to also be in that dominant position in society. And then you have women who are willing to go along with that, right? There are a certain number of women who are also willing, the trad wife sort of thing. And so what you've seen on this.
No, absolutely. I'm sure the doctors are exhausted. And, Jason, there is a term called necropolitics, which is essentially the politics of who gets to live and who gets to die. And these states, what they have in common is that they have structures which say that black and brown lives matter less. And so all that matters is that the black and brown people get their behinds into the factory and make me my steaks, make me my stuff, get there and do my nails, work, get back to work now and do the things that I, the comfortable, affluent person, need. Isn't that what we're seeing? I mean, that's what it feels like to me. Necropolitics in states like Texas.
So, yeah, that's what we have here. Good old race baiter Joy Reid gone. No longer has her show. She is toast. And what we have this here with this here from the New York Post saying MSNBC cancels Joy Reid's lefty show as network makes major shakeup. And this is not just happening to, Joy Reid in particular. It's happening to everybody. But what we have here is this. We have this from also the Daily Mail. It says, Joy Reid's MSNBC show is canceled as ratings plummet. MSNBC has canceled Joy Reid's evening show amid the network's plummeting ratings, according to a report. Her final episode of The Readout is set for sometime this week, sources told the New York Times. The 7 p.m. ET time slot will be replaced by a panel show co-hosted by Simon Sanders, Townsend, Alicia Menendez, and Michael Steele. The shakeup comes from a newly tapped MSNBC president, Rebecca Cutler, who is looking to save the network from dismal ratings, according to Variety. Oh, that's a good thing. It's nice that you're trying to save MSNBC, but it's not going to save you. You're still going to fail. You're still going to have a massive amount of problems, but it's nice that you're trying. Other programming changes are expected as the network looks to revitalize its primetime roster. Amid a looming landscape of languishing cable and legacy news stations, MSNBC had their lowest rated generators in history in the highly sought 25 to 2054 demographic. The statistics holds importance to advertisers due to the group's spending power and the fact that it pertains to both daytime and primetime. During the hours of 8 through 11 p.m. Eastern Time, MSNBC barely managed an audience of 734,000, with CNN securing just 522,000. Man, I wish I had those viewerships. I'm pretty sure I would do significantly better than these people, but of course, that's me thinking that I'm just better than them, which I am, obviously, but I digress. What we have here is that this all occurred during a hectic news cycle that featured coverage of Justin Trudeau's resignation, Trump's inauguration, and the controversy surrounding the president's parade of appointments and pardons. She will be replaced with, this lady here. So we'll see what happens, right? But yeah, no, Joy Reid is out. She's gone. She is no longer here. And of course, we have other crazy news as well, where Lester Holt is out at NBC Nightly News after MSNBC axed Joy Reid. So the leftist media, cable news, everything is in collapse. It's just falling. And we love to see it because this is what we need. These people constantly push far leftist media out in the open to where everybody can see, and it looks like a lot of people are tired of it. Nobody wants to deal with this, and we love to see it. Now, what we have here, my friends, is from our friend Colin Rugg, where Joy Reid is absolutely crying, having a mental breakdown over getting fired off of her show. She no longer has a show, and we have this here. Joy Reid starts crying on camera after her show was canceled on MSNBC. Reid was seen wiping tears from her eyes as she reacted to the news. What I was doing had value. Aww. You thought it had value. See, that's adorable, because if it had value, your ratings wouldn't be in the absolute gutter, and you wouldn't also be fired from your show, but you had no value. All you had was racist value, and that's all that you can have. Now, what we have here, my friends, is the actual clip in question. So without further ado, my friends, let's hear the cries.
And that, I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And this is kind of like being on TV, so I apologize. And that it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted and not just Black folks, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object, to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. And I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show.
You love to see it, right? You love to see it. It's just like she cries. It's like, oh, well, JMReports don't make fun of her. It's like, no, this woman has been spreading lies and racist stuff for years now, and I cannot wait to understand, to see this woman fail and collapse. Like, you had value. You never had value in the first place. All you did was race grift, said all these racist things, anti-white people this, anti-white people that, and people, it's like, you're obviously you're spreading racism. MSNBC was spreading racism, and now you got canned because your ratings are low because nobody watches you, nobody likes you, for obviously good reason. And now you're saying like, oh, well, we're spreading the anti-president stuff or what have you. Well, guess what? All those things that you were saying about the president were absolutely false. MSNBC was known to be in contact with the Democratic Party. So I don't know what else to tell you. So you were part of the Democratic machine. You were crying about this, and now you're out because nobody watches their garbage. Nobody watches any of these media outlets anymore. They're all laying off people because it is time for podcasters like myself and other channels to rise up and go to the occasion here to replace you, because you guys have done absolutely nothing. You've only spread lies, racism, and hate across your entire platform, and you get what's coming to you, right? So bye-bye, Joy Reid. No longer here. It looks like you're gone, and we love to see it. So without further ado, my friends, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, take care, my friends.
Burn down the city, scream at the top of your lungs till you're dizzy. You can cancel everything and everybody in it, but it's not yours.